Good afternoon, this is Steve with Born Again Torinos, and I've got a little update video to make here. And I took the bumpers, well, the rear bumper off this Torino, and usually the rear bumper is the most difficult because of the mud and the grime and the gunk that throws back and packs back here, and the bolts tend to get rusty and break and snap. And this was no different. This was a very tough one, because usually you can take a bumper off of a Torino in 10 minutes, and it was like 3 hours to get this off, and then also the skin off the bumper core. But thankfully no bolts broke on the main mount here, which was great. And what I did was I had put penetrating fluid on them a couple weeks ago, hoping it would ease them off, and it didn't. But I used my air gun on first I used my breaker bar to break them loose, and then sprayed what threads were there with the penetrating fluid, and then the air gun, and got them off, and that was very pleasing. And here they are. Here's the core. This together with the skin and the core, feels like, I don't know, 80 to 100 pounds. And there's the skin, which is, much lighter, but Tony's going to get this because it's got a lot of road rash that he's painted silver over to help it not be so rusty. Here's what that looks like. It's got a lot of road rash, and it's a pretty good gouge here. But every bolt on the skin, there, and there was rusted on, and oh, and there's some on the backside, and they weren't as bad, but half of them snapped off, and the others I had to cut off, and so it needs a new set of bolts to put this back on here. And now I got to do the front, which I'm thinking is going to be easier. Oh, I think someone came in and assassinated the car at night. It's bleeding out transmission fluid. So Tony knows it's got a transmission leak, and also it looks like the main bearing seal is leaking too, but he's going to address all that. Oh, the front bumper. This should go easier, I'm thinking, because the fronts usually they're a little more protected and less coated in grime and rust, and I'm thinking it should come up pretty good. And I'm actually liking this bumper. I think it's in good shape, but it might not look great with a brand new perfect rear bumper, so that might be a good idea to go ahead and get it done. And I used the POR Putty on all of the trim holes for the vinyl top, and this is it. This stuff is so awesome. It's 2 sticks of one's white and one is greenish, and you cut them equally, however much you want to use, just double whatever that is because you're doing 2 sticks. And then you take a bowl of water, preferably warm water, and you knead it together. And then you really got to knead it well. I mean, you just take your time and really get it kneaded, because it's a 2-part epoxy, and in the water, I think, keeps it from sticking to your hands, but it's not a sticky stick kind of thing. Feels like Play-Doh almost. And then on your countersunk holes, I'll roll up a ball about that big, and then put it over the hole, and then I'll mushroom it out, and you have your hands wet, and you're wetting it as you're doing it, and then you feather it out. And I have it domed over, and then when it's dry the next day I sand them, And then this will be filled and board sanded. And I sanded out. I'm not done yet. I'm getting all the Bondo the guy put in this factory welded seam, so we can get it back looking factory. But this guy who did this paint job took that foam insulating tape that's sticky on one side, and it's about an 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch thick, and he cut squares and he stuck them underneath each hole, so when he Bondoed, it wouldn't drip into the trunk. But with this, when I put my little ball of putty there, I'm coming in underneath and I'm mushrooming it on the back side. So it's anchored on the top because it's countersunk, and it's mushroomed on the back side. It can't ever go anywhere. So you don't have any drippy pigtail Bondo drippings or anything. It's just, it's just a little dome on the back side, and this is hidden. And so did those. So next step is going to be the quarter panel. And in the trunk, oh, the POR 15. This is POR 15, and POR stands for paint over rust. And this stuff is just, their company is just awesome. I like everything they have. This was something I had found on the floor after I had done some, and it had dripped, and I just peeled it off the floor. And you can see that it's plastic. This is plastic paint. And that's why it seals so well, and it's very thick, especially if you do multiple coats. So you can throw wrenches and stuff in, and it won't chip down to the body or to the metal and cause rusting. And if you drill holes, drain holes, this will coat the hole as it runs out, and keeping that hole from rusting. But it's just awesome stuff. And you can paint it on, or brush it on, roll it on, spray it on. And in here, we have, I've been sanding in the trunk, and you can see the POR putty. Anywhere that it was starting to rust a little bit, I put it in, and I've already started sanding it. And there was a hole here, a small hole, so I've already started sanding on that. It was weak right there. There was a hole there, and here's a really common spot to rust. Is right there, so it's like a low spot. So that's been filled with the POR putty, and that'll be sanded. And same here, 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 over here. And then I gotta fix this dent. There's a dent here, and a big gouge here, like something huge and heavy just slammed on there. And the metal, the floors are in fabulous condition. The quarter panels are perfect, and very happy about that. The back panel here is perfect. There's some pitting on some parts of the floor, nothing through left anymore. And so this will have finishing putty put down, and that stuff, I use Blaze Glaze. That's this stuff. And this is ultra fine premium putty, and it doesn't give you any pinholes ever. And it's so fine, it goes into the smallest little hole, and then you sand, and it's like it was never there. And so I'll do any of that spot that has any scale rust, and then the floor will be painted with the POR 15, and then it gets sanded and then painted the floor color. So the floors are going to be just awesome. But that's the stuff I love. And that's about it. So next up will be the front bumper coming off. The quarter panels, the upper quarter panels, opera windows will be filled. And I will be more addressing this dent that I've already popped out, but have to massage. But it's coming along. Really liking how solid this car is. And I still haven't decoded the VIN. Somebody put sport gauges in, and it's not, I'm pretty sure it's not a sport. So someone put the gauges in, and I think it's a bench seat car, and someone put in the console which will have a delete plate hopefully put in. But I think it's neat that it has the police radio and the PA system, so you can talk out the loudspeaker, and it has the siren, and it has the magnetic rotating red roof light. So a lot of fun stuff for Tony to, when he goes to a car show, to impress the people and make them smile. And we talked about making cardboard stand-ups of Starsky and Huch and maybe even Huggy Bear to stand there at the car show and help draw people in and make them smile. And here's the test fit of the replacement mirror, which is awesome. I love that. And so that'll come off because it gets painted off the car. So it's coming along. I'm trying to think of anything else to mention, so it won't be that long of a video. Yeah, still getting the hardest parts done first. So this is definitely the hardest. Trunk's always very unpleasant, so I'm getting that over with. And I guess the third unpleasant thing is always this shelf here. It's just comes with the territory because most Torinos have opera windows and vinyl tops. It's just how it is. And that is it. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope it wasn't boring, and we'll see more progress. And please like and subscribe if you liked it. And what are you doing? You got a leaf on your back. What are you doing? That's Pitty Pat. She's my shop kitty, and she thinks she's a dog, and she growls at the mailman and the garbage man. And she's just a good girl. Yeah. And so like and subscribe and ring that little bell for notifications, so hopefully YouTube will send you a notification each time I upload a video. And thank you for watching, and good night.